So today's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna do more of a dramatic look for the lighting. I'm using a 24-inch softbox for the main light. I'll use this with and without the grid. I'm using two 36-inch strip box with the grid. When there are strip boxes in the back, I'm always using grids on these, to control that light. This one here, I'll control the light with the grid, and if I take the grid off, I want a brighter look. I'm also using two V-flats, one on each side, on the black side to absorb the light. My entire studio walls are all white, and it's a small studio, so any kind of light that I use in here, it's going to bounce and reflect back. This is how I control it. I'll also use the shade up and down because I'm using the three speed lights, the HVL F60 RM2s, one in each. You can put two in these without a problem, but I'm just going to use one in each because that's what most people can do. Now, again, you can use any speed lights you want, any softboxes you like. I'm not pushing any one of these. This is just the setup that I'm personally using. Whatever you have will work, I'm sure. But let's get into the shoot. Oh, and I haven't done this yet. I'm going to try the DxO Labs 8 that's out because I hear so many good things about it. And I really, really want to try it. Now, I have Nik software, the Nik plugins, which I absolutely love for my black and white, but I've never used the color side of the Nik plugins. I don't know if you call it a plugin or what it is, but it's Nik software and it goes into Photoshop. But the black and white is amazing to me. But I want to try the color side of this to see what I can do with the images. I'm not looking for a natural image. I'm looking for a retouched image. I'm looking for a strong, powerful, retouched image. I don't want to go overboard, but I have a feeling I just may with some of these. And that's okay because I'm looking to see what it can do, what it does, and how the final images look. I'm playing with them. So let's get that out of the way. And I don't do that much retouching on this kind of stuff for commercial because they have people to do that. But for clients, I do retouching and it's usually very natural. So I want to go over to that side for a little bit today and see how it does. And I'm really excited about trying the DxO Labs software because everybody says it's really good. So I use Capture Ones every once in a while, and I used it on an iPad. The learning curve for me is a little high on that. That's just me, and I'm sure it's fantastic. But I'm so used to Lightroom because I've been using it for so many years. This is going to be a hurdle for me, but I want to try it and see how it does. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. Let's get to the shoot, see how we do, and see how the software does, because I think it should be fun. Thanks for watching, as always. Okay, first things first, the DxO PhotoLab 8. This was the very first time I've used it. Never used it before. The overcooking of these images, and you'll see it, they're overcooked, was not a product of the DxO PhotoLab. That was me making sure the client got exactly what she wants. She loves this type of image. This is what she wanted. And believe me, when they're paying your bills, you give them what they want. There's nothing wrong with this. A lot of people love this look. For me, I like a little bit more natural look, a lot more natural look. But, I give my clients what they want, period. That's the end of the argument there. The next thing is I'm not showing you using the DxO PhotoLab 8 software because this was the very first time I've used it, and showing you me fumbling around the software would not be a benefit to the PhotoLabs 8. It would make it look hard, which it really isn't, but it was the first time I was using it. Now, I use the color correction, the exposure control, that kind of stuff, and it worked fantastic. And I love the color coming out of it. Not this, but the color coming out of that. And then I would export it into Photoshop. I would do the retouching with the Retouch for Me plugins, which I swear by. I love those plugins. I can't recommend those enough. And then I would pull it into the Nik Color Effects Pro. Now, I use Nik Silver Effects all the time. It's a black and white conversion. It is amazing, but I've never used the color. As long as I've had it, I've never used the color, so I decided to use it on this. And I used their presets in it. I didn't even do, tweaking or create my own. I just used their presets. It was amazing. I love the way it looks, but I would dial it back. I wouldn't overcook these as much as they are. But my client absolutely loved them. This is what she was looking for, and this was what she got. So she was happy, and I'm happy that she's happy. So right now I can say I'm going to be using DxO PhotoLab 8 a lot more to get used to it, to learn it more, and then I'll show it. But right out of the box, I was really impressed with the colors and the controls. I think they're amazing. But it is a learning curve, so because I'm so used to Lightroom. But it was good enough for me to go, I want to try this again and again and get good at it. So that being said, I apologize for not showing it, but you can download the trial and try it for yourself. I think they have a 15-day or a 30-day trial for it. But I was impressed with it, honestly. I think it's really good. Lighting, I'm not going over as much because it's just the basic setup. It's, 2 strip lights with grids and the main light. Now, I'll take that grid off the main light coming up because she's going to wear a lighter outfit. And I let things go where they were. You'd see in that one, that was the actual color of the backdrop. This one, I pulled it down just a little bit. It's like a really dark gray because of her distance away from the backdrop. Everything's gridded, so I'm not getting spill on the backdrop. So now at the end, I'll show you, the actual grayish backdrop because after this one, I'm going to move her closer to the backdrop and the light closer to the backdrop, which obviously, the light's going to spill on the backdrop more and it'll give you the actual color. But it goes down to gray, a mid-tone gray, but not completely dark. Anyway, Nik software, absolutely positively, the plugins are fantastic. Silver FX Pro, I absolutely love. And again, this was the very first time I used the color effects. I kind of like that. I'm going to play with that more. But the DxO PhotoLab 8, I think is amazing. I really think that software is going to work well. And I'm going to use it on the Leica files next. This is with the Sony files. I want to try it with the Leica files and see how it does. Anyway, thanks for watching as always. If you have any questions, leave them below.